slurs in the process as well. After threatening black motorists, the group headed to Douglasville, where they happened upon an outdoor birthday party that included a cookout and bouncy castle.
Oh,
Several members.
what's going on YouTube? Oosh. I almost caught a cramp right there. Dead ass. I'm not editing that out either. What's going on YouTube? We're gonna be checking out some crazy KKK members. Can I even say that on YouTube? I don't know. We'll find out if this doesn't have any ads on it. But I'm gonna just say cool members for this video. By the way, I'm not the type of person that thinks I'm a victim or I'm oppressed. So we're just gonna get that out there. I'm just a black man from the hood that just happens to also be a cowboy and very country. I think I explained that well. But yeah, let's get into this, man. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure y'all subscribe. Let's get into this video right here, man. Let's go. More of the story, I think I said that a little bit wrong. I had good influences in my life. So yeah, I grew up in the ghetto, but I grew up around my country ass uncles and stuff like that. So therefore, that's where the cowboy part comes out at, you know. So anyways, yeah, let's get into this video. You see the title, KKK member reacting to life sentence. Let's get into it.
Profile of who would be a mass murderer, that would be you right now.
The Ku Klux Klan, with its long history of violence, is the oldest and most infamous of American hate groups. Today we bring you some hate group members that will have you shaking your head in disbelief. Number 4, Kayla Norton and Jose Joe Torres. A Georgia judge has sentenced Kayla Norton, 25, and Jose Joe Torres, 26, to spend a combined 19 years in prison for their role in a group's racist rampage and an 8-year-old's birthday party, an attack that included shouting racial slurs, making armed threats, and waving Confederate battle flags. Norton told the family that endured the attack, weeping in the courtroom at Monday's sentencing, "I am so sorry." After telling the court that she accepted responsibility for her actions.
You're only sorry because you got caught. And I'm not going to lie, the Confederate flag is not always racist. Some people out there do use it for racist meanings, but the actual Confederate flag is not racist. That's what some people get a mixed conception of right there. And for the most part, it has to do with just like traditional beliefs. I'm not talking about like only white people should date and have, you know, intercourse with white people, and they should only reproduce with white people. It's more of like a traditional, as in like the laws type of thing. So it's not just, I'm not talking about the whole intersex type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, how do I need to word this? Like interracial dating. I'm not talking about that. That's not the way. I'm talking about the laws, gun laws and all that. That's what the Confederate flag means for most people. Gun laws, other laws that protect people, how it did back then, that they're trying to get rid of nowadays in the modern day. So that's basically what part of it is right there.
Norton then turned to the area of the courtroom where families who attended the birthday party were seated and spoke to them. Norton and Torres, who are not married, have 3 children together. Prosecutors say they were part of a gang of white supremacists who targeted African Americans with racist taunts and threatened to slay minorities. In court, both Norton and Torres sat hunched over and crying after Superior Court Judge William Bo McLean handed down his sentence: 13 years in prison and 7 years probation for Torres, and 6 years in prison with 9 years probation for Norton. Both of them are also banished from Douglas County. The sentencing comes weeks after a jury found Torres and Norton guilty of making terroristic threats and violating the Georgia Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act.
It's crazy because
the jury also convicted Torres of aggravated attack. Although Georgia doesn't have a law specifying a hate crime, that's the term both McLean and District Attorney Brian Fortner used to describe the group's behavior. The attack occurred in July 2015, 1 month after.
That's crazy because you got to think about it. So they're only crying because they got caught. If they didn't get caught, they would have been bragging about, yeah, you remember that time we went to that birthday party and we showed them, you know what I'm saying, who we were and who's boss, that type of stuff. They wouldn't have been crying about it. They would have still been laughing about it to this day. And I'm going to get real deep in this video too as well. Like not right now, but a little bit later on down the road.
After a racist gunman slayed 9 worshipers at a historically black church in Charleston, South Carolina. Prosecutors say Norton, Torres, and other members
and other members
itself Respect the Flag, went on an alcohol-fueled racist spree in Douglas and Paulding counties west of Atlanta. With
There's more than
Confederate
alcohol.
battle flags affixed to the beds of their pickup trucks, the group gathered for a ride that was purportedly meant to celebrate the flag's heritage. However, Paulding County 911 began immediately receiving calls that members associated with this group were threatening African American citizens at various locations in Paulding County
That's
and
crazy.
hurling numerous racial slurs in the process as well. After threatening black motorists, the group headed to Douglasville, where they happened upon an outdoor birthday party that included a cookout and bouncy castle.
Oh.
Several members of the group, some of whom are now serving prison terms of their own, got out of their trucks and approached the partygoers, threatening to slay them all. According to their fellow defendants and witnesses, it was Norton who retrieved Torres's shotgun, a tactical 12-gauge with a pistol grip, and loaded it before giving it to him. Cell phone footage from the party shows police attempting to form a barrier in front of the families as the trucks drove off.
That's crazy.
During his trial, Torres told the court he was carrying the shotgun for his own defense, but he then acknowledged lying to the police about the gun and to selling the weapon before he was arrested. Months after the attack, the Respect the Flag group was indicted as a street gang by a Douglas County grand jury.
I would never walk up to you and say those words to you, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. But I do accept the responsibility for what I've done. I've not
Cry me a
done
river.
wrong. But I want you all to know that that is not me. That is not me. That's not him.
I'm telling you, they were all for more than just alcohol. They were all for us, to act like that. Yeah, I've seen some wild shit. I'm telling you, like, especially whenever it comes to people outraging and doing stuff that they wouldn't normally do. Cause I believe when she said that she wouldn't just normally be open like that. I do 100% believe that she was there, even though they didn't show any footage. She was there and she did the stuff that they're talking about right now, but she wouldn't be as open with it if she was sober. I can tell you that much for sure. They were gone.
Number 3, Todd N. Jameson. A man who targeted a predominantly black Grand Rapids church and funeral home with racially charged phone calls is clearly a racist, whose behavior fits the profile of a mass slayer, a Kent County judge said. Trusock sentenced Jameson to between 16 months and 2 years in prison for ethnic.
The future.
16 months? That's it? 16? What? Hold on. Run that back. Run that back.
Trusock sentenced Jameson to between 16 months and 2 years in prison for ethnic intimidation.
That's it?
It was the maximum the judge could give. He
Wow.
also slapped Jameson with a $5,000 fine. Jameson, 27, was responsible for racially charged phone calls and email messages left with Brown's funeral home and Brown Hutcherson Ministries, both located on Jefferson Avenue Southeast. The messages began showing up November 14 after two people on funeral home property were asked to leave. Paula A. Woods was the recipient of the phone messages. Since the incident, Woods says she is often looking over her shoulder when she goes to the church. In court, Jameson, dressed in a suit and tie, apologized for his behavior.
Mr. Jameson made, and prior to receiving those calls, I was the recipient of the phone calls. The church that I work in, we had an open door policy, and we never locked the doors. And I just want him to know whether he meant them or not. The temperature of the world today and all the violence going on is just unacceptable.
I did not think about the climate of the world and how, things are happening, all the bad, the shootings and whatnot.
Although the plea agreement called for a jail term of no more than 9 months, Trusock said he was not bound by that agreement because Jameson has had several missteps. They include failing to appear for his pre-sentence report and failing to report to court services.
Sometimes it is racism, but also it's racism and a mental disorder, and a mental issue. You can tell he's not all up there in the head. Like, he gives me, like, if Jeffrey Dahmer had a cousin or a nephew or a brother, this would be him. Except for he wouldn't be going after men; he would be going after black people. This is Jeffrey Dahmer reincarnated, but with a different goal in mind.
Michigan's ethnic intimidation law has been on the books for 30 years. It makes it a crime to harass another person because of that person's race, color, religion, gender, or national origin. Ethnic intimidation is a felony punishable by up to 2 years in prison and a $5,000 fine.
If I had to give a profile of who would be a mass murderer, that would be you right now.
Number 2. Travis McMichael, Greg McMichael, and William Roddy Bryan. The white father and son, 2 of 3, convicted of slaying in Ahmaud Arbery's fatal shooting after they chased the 25-year-old black man through a Georgia neighborhood, were sentenced to life in prison for committing a federal hate crime. U.S. District Court Judge Lisa Godbey Wood handed down the sentences against Travis McMichael, 36, and his father, Greg, 66, reiterating the gravity of the February 2020 slaying that shattered their Brunswick community and became part of a larger national reckoning over racial injustice.
That wasn't too far from me.
William Roddy Bryan, 50.
This isn't too far from me. That's crazy. Nah, Georgia really isn't as bad as this video is making it seem. I'm telling you. The real worst place to like live at is, I'd say, Arkansas if you're black. But even then, like, you gotta purposely make yourself a victim, and you gotta purposely be ignorant in order for you to have a hard time in any other county, bro. Like, it's just common sense. Some people just genuinely won't like you, but for the most part, it's not as bad as the video is, you know. It's just highlighting it so it makes it look worse.
Who recorded cell phone video of the slaying, was sentenced to 35 years in prison. The McMichaels were previously sentenced to life without parole in state court for Arbery slaying, and had asked the judge to divert them to a federal prison to serve their sentences, saying they were worried about their safety in the state prison system. Wood declined the request. In February, a federal jury convicted the McMichaels and Bryan of violating Arbery's civil rights, concluding they targeted him because of his race. All 3 were also found guilty of attempted kidnapping, and the McMichaels were convicted of using guns in the commission of a violent crime. The McMichaels armed themselves with guns and used a pickup truck to chase Arbery after he ran past their home on February 23, 2020. Bryan, a neighbor, joined the pursuit in his own truck and recorded cell phone video of Travis McMichael shooting Arbery with a shotgun.
I'm glad they caught him. I'm glad. Now, keep in mind, in all these videos, I'd be clapping, I'd be doing all the same stuff I'm doing if the people that were doing the crimes were black or Mexican, Indian, whatever race, yellow, white, it don't matter. I'd be reacting the same way, because a crime is a crime. It don't matter your color at the end of the day. It's just highlighting them at this point.
The McMichaels told police they suspected Arbery was a burglar, but investigators determined he was unarmed and had committed no crimes. Before the sentencings, Arbery's mother, Wanda Cooper Jones, said that every day she feels every shot fired at her son. Greg McMichael also addressed the Arbery family, saying their loss was beyond description. Travis McMichael declined to address the court, but his attorney, Amy Lee Copeland, said a lighter sentence would be more consistent with what similarly charged defendants have received in other cases, noting that the officer who slayed George Floyd in Minneapolis, Derek Chauvin, got 21 years in prison for violating Floyd's civil rights.
Shut the fuck, bro. I'm so sick of this George Floyd bullshit. George Floyd was a crackhead, fentanyl abuser, and was about to die anyways before that even happened. Literally. The cops had nothing, literally damn near nothing to do with that. George Floyd was not an outstanding human being. We're not about to get into that.
Though he was not charged with targeting Floyd because of his race. During the February hate crimes trial, prosecutors fortified their case that Arbery's slaying was motivated by racism by showing the jury roughly 24 text messages and social media posts in which Travis McMichael and Bryan used racist slurs and made disparaging comments about black people. A state superior court judge imposed life sentences for the McMichaels and Bryan for Arbery slaying, with both McMichaels denied any chance of parole.
I understand you have reached a verdict as to each defendant.
We have, Your Honor.
Please hand your verdict forms to the sheriff. First verdict form I have is the state of Georgia versus Travis McMichael. Mr. McMichael, please stand. In the Superior Court of Glenn County, state of Georgia, the state of Georgia versus Travis McMichael. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael,
Guilty.
Count 3, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, Travis McMichael, guilty. As to Gregory McMichael, the state of Georgia versus Greg McMichael. We, the jury, find the defendant, Greg McMichael, guilty. This 24th day of November, 2021, signed by the foreperson.
Damn, and that wasn't too long ago either, bro. That's crazy. Glenn, I live about 30 minutes away from. I could literally get there in like probably 20 minutes, honestly, with the way I drive. But yeah, this ain't too far from me.
As to William R. Bryan, in the Superior Court of Glenn County, state of Georgia, state of Georgia versus William R. Bryan. Count 1, malice murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, not guilty. Count 3, felony murder. We, the jury, find the defendant, William R. Bryan, guilty.
Number 1, William Melendez. The ex-Michigan cop convicted in the beating of an unarmed driver during a traffic stop was sentenced to 13 months to 10 years in prison. William Melendez, 47, was caught on police dashboard camera in the January 2015 attack on driver Floyd Dent, who was hit 16 times and testified that he was choked so hard he passed out. Melendez, during his hearing, was also sentenced to 90 days on a misconduct in office charge. He was already given 85 days credit for time served. From the bench, Wayne County Circuit Court Judge Vonda Evans admonished Melendez for an incident that seemed to spiral out of control from a simple traffic stop. "You were so into your bravado that you forgot the eye of justice was recording you," Evans said. "You knew better. You were better trained than any of those officers out there. You were more experienced." Melendez, who was fired from the Inkster Police Department the April before, was found guilty in November of misconduct in office and attack with intent to do great bodily harm. The jury, however, found him not guilty of a separate count of strangulation. The jury...
Did y'all see that, bro? He's literally punching him in his head.
The jury, however, found him not guilty of a separate count of strangulation.
That's crazy,
The jury
bro.
had 9 black jurors and 7 white jurors. 4 of those jurors were selected as alternates, although it was unclear which ones. Dent, a 58-year-old Ford Motor Company worker, was initially charged with driving on a suspended license, possession of cocaine, and assaulting or resisting a police officer, but those charges were later dropped. Dent has maintained police planted the cocaine on him. He settled a civil suit with the city of Inkster in May for $1.4 million, and amid the public outcry in the case, the city's police chief resigned. 2 officers were suspended, and Melendez was fired.
That cop was probably off of cocaine acting like that. I guarantee you. Like, with me knowing what I know and seeing how cocaine makes you act, he was definitely off of that shit and he planted it on him. I believe that 100%. 100%.
Fired.
I don't even want to watch the tape of them beating me, cause I get upset. I was covered in blood.
Wipe your mouth.
You know,
I hate that shit.
But I'm lucky to be living. They were
Yeah,
trying to
he
kill
is.
me. If that video wasn't there, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I'd be locked up.
The incident was widely cited amid the renewed national focus on police brutality in minority communities.
Yeah.
Melendez apologized during his sentencing to Floyd and his family. Floyd later said that he hoped Melendez would have been thrown behind bars for longer than 10 years. However, he was released even earlier and is now a free man to roam the streets.
That's crazy.
Mr. Dent and his family, I am truly sorry.
No, he's not.
And if you have any animosity towards law enforcement, that was not my intention.
That's all.
That was your intention, buddy. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section. Make sure that like button. Make sure you all subscribe too as well. And we're gone. Peace.